Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to go over the AM Silver Bullet for Wednesday, January 17th. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the Kraken Silver Bullet Pro indicator and I'm going to select some settings here, right? I like to start with the Killzone and see where it's at first for the AM session. And it looks like we just took out that low. I'll zoom in here for a second for the high, but let's turn on some other things. So some new things we have on below the lines is we have swing points. So I turn those on. I like to show the fair value gaps in the different colors for bullish and bearish. And I also like the structure breaking fair value gaps. I don't usually use the pivots, but it's on there if you want. And I don't usually use the balance price ranges. And then I leave the macros and stuff. This is usually while I'm live trading. And at the end of the day, I go through the macros. Macro is just a time that the algorithm is going to seek liquidity or change in direction. It's going to do something. Usually there's a macro that is seeking liquidity, filling in balance. And if you go to ictindex.io, the website, and type in what is a macro, the answer is a macro in the context of ICT's teachings refers to a small program or a short list of instructions that unfolds within an algorithm, which influences price movements in the market. These macros can either prevent or enable the delivery of price and often operate at specific times of the day or during certain market conditions. Okay, so that's what a macro does. So that's I don't have these on while I'm trading live. I go back in and see what the macros did. But I have these, sometimes I know when these are, so I'm looking at time of day when those are. So all right, so we have these turned on, and let's see where. Okay, that's way up there. So we're in this range. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. We just swept this. Now we're looking for a market structure shift. All right, so let's go candle by candle here. And I'm going to buy one contract and buy and sell, and I won't take partials here. Lately I've been trading two contracts, aiming for 25 handles and not taking a partial, but going break even at 12 and a half. And then letting hit it. So two contracts, it's $1,000, and that's over my daily goal, so I'm done. If I take a partial, one off at 25, I'll let one trail and go up to like 37.50, and that's about 1,200 bucks when I'm all done. So it's usually what I'm looking at, or 1,250 rather, when I'm done. So that's what I've been targeting on my top step accounts and Apex accounts. So that's what I have set up when I do targets here. So let's go candle by candle here. So for me, a market structure shift, I'd need this candle, this major swing high broken. Okay. So other than that, I'm not interested. I'm not taking these. I want higher. Okay, there's a fair value gap. So I can mark out that fair value gap here. Okay, so there you got a market structure shift right there, right here, and you have this fair value gap here. That's in a premium, so don't really care about it. That's not what I would be using. I'm looking for this one. So that's why I'm not marking it. That's in premium, wouldn't be interested in it. Ideally, you'd want to get it on this fair value gap. Okay, so let's see if we can get in here. Reason I'm not really a huge fan of this breaker right here is because it's still in a premium. So I would want to come down to this fair value gap anyway. So there is a breaker right here. Just not marking it because I'm not interested in looking at it. If price does come up, or, well, if it comes down to the fair value gap, I'm going to enter in the trade. And now trading view, I can't set limit orders, so I would enter right at the top of this fair value gap. But if it enters in there, wherever it does go, that's where I'm going to have to take my trade. All right, so we're going to buy one here. Okay, so we're going to put our position on, and this one's 36 points, right? So I said I either take a 25 or a 37.5. Let's go 37.5. That's where I would have entered, and let's just move this over right here. And let's just see how far it goes. Again, I'll move my TP targets here. Stop loss to here. TP target to here. And when it takes that, we're good. And here, let's move this way up here like this. You actually see it better. All right, we're done right there. That's good. Move this over. Okay. So what is price done here? Let's reevaluate here. Well, I see a breaker block right here. Now I know you're like, wait a minute, how's that a breaker block? Well, here's a secret that I learned from someone. If you go over to and click on the line chart, so is that not a swing low? Is that not a swing high? And is that not a lower low? And then it breaks through? The answer would be yes. And so that is what a breaker is. So this may not look like a breaker block to you, but low, high, lower low breaks through. I know everyone always looks at this as the breaker block, and I do too. And I was like, well, there's no breaker. I have had many conversations, but this is a breaker as well. It meets the rules. Low, high, lower, low breaks through. Now it comes back in, you can enter, okay? So when it enters into this, I'll take it. There is two fair value gaps here, so we obviously want to draw out the lower one. So we'll draw out the lower fair value gap. So let's keep going, and we'll take another entry here if it gets us in there. Obviously, if we drew a fib from here to here, that's in discount. Yes, and granted, I usually use this as just a confluence, not a mandatory. It's ideal, but again, not mandatory. So if PD array was in premium and I still like this, I would take it off this breaker. But if I have other ones in discount for to go long, I'd prefer those. So it is, no, right there. Oh, get me in. Nope. So there is some bias to it. And you gotta decide that what's that for you. Ooh, okay, so we're gonna buy. Now, it very well could come back into this one because we'd pull a leg from here to here, and it could come down in here to this fair value gap if it wants to. But my long position, right here I entered, there's 12 points, top of this fair value gap. So is it a risky trade? It's kinda, maybe. We'll see. It could come down here, and where I pull that is if it came from this leg all the way to the high. Here's optimal trade entry down here. So we'll see. I don't think it should need to come down here again. So we shall see. Now, okay. Oh, and I need to set my targets, don't I? Stop loss here. DP target. This high. This is my DP target. There's 47. So 37.5. I'll move it to 37.5 just to be fair. Ideally, I would be targeting this high and moving it when I'm taking it on NinjaTrader, or now I'm trading with Quant Tower. I would be moving this up higher, but for discussion purposes, I'll leave it at 37.5, and we'll go from there. There, done. Okay, I think it actually does go higher to some point. Yeah, right there. Okay. All right. Okay. So now let's reevaluate here. We have this breaker here. We have that thing. We have now same logic here. Another breaker right there, and a fair value gap right here. So overlapping PD arrays. Very strong to have overlapping PD arrays. Okay, so if it comes back in here and you're still in this silver bullet hour, you could take another trade. If I'm up $1,500, which let me move this up here so I can show you that we are up $1,500 right here, I would not be taking another trade. But since I'm showing you what you could have done, how these would have worked out, we'll take another trade if it does. And if we pulled our fib from this low here to this high, just kind of keep that in. Optimal trade entry is right in here too. So there's another confluence other than the fair value gap and the breaker block. Yeah, so I got optimal trade entry too. So because this is a good resistance area, I would probably put my stop or my limit order right at the top of these two, and my stop would be obviously below here, so or below this, so it'd be right below this would be a good place to enter. You're not guaranteed optimal trade entry, so ooh, look at that, that'd been close. All right, so I said it hit that, so I'm going to enter there. Obviously, it's up here because of this, so I'll put my long entry here. What is this? 25, 37. Let's go to 37 and a half. Oops, wrong one. 37 and a half to go above this high here. Okay, so let's move our stops down to here. Let's move our take profit up to here. Let's see how this goes. Like that. I'm pretty sure on my rules right now I'd be break even. That's what I've been doing here. It didn't take us out there. No, it did. Okay. That is your trade setups. Let's do this review real quick. All right, we came to the 10 o'clock hour. We saw that using the Kraken Silver Bullet Pro indicator, we came in, we saw that New York Killzone was swept. So now we look for a market structure shift, right? We have a market structure shift here. We look back, we have a fair value gap. We have a higher fair value gap, but we bypass that because that's in premium. And you have a breaker block right here, but again, in premium. So if they have one here, we prefer discount. So we waited and it came in, tapped us in there, fair value gap. We aimed for this high, which was 37.5 points. There was $1,200 on 2 contracts. If you did one, it's different. So price came back up. We saw a breaker block and a fair value gap in discount again. So we said, okay, we'll take another entry. We entered in. We went another 37.5, which was above this high here. So there's another, 700 some bucks right there. Okay. Price came back up. We had another breaker block inside a fair value gap. So we used that. Now you could have used this as a breaker as well. Also supports price really well. It doesn't go below it. So you take another entry and we aim for another 37.5 points, which is above this high. And there you go. There's your trade. So that's your AM Silver Bullet for Wednesday, January 17th, using the Kraken Silver Bullet Pro indicator.